Hi, folks. Hope you're all doing well today. So, I'm going to be talking about how I became a history buff and how it became like one of my special interests. And so, I'm going to be talking about when and where, like how it started, where I am today with my interest in history. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And, history has become definitely one of my special interests and obsessions at times, for sure. So, to start off, I know when I was a kid, I didn't really care about history because, back when I was in Tennessee and I was going to school, I always said, why do I have to learn about things that happened hundreds of years ago? It doesn't affect me. That's what I used to say. And I think a lot of kids say that. I've heard other kids say that too. But of course, they don't really understand it. Right now, I wish I could go back in time and, give myself a long lecture about that, because history is actually really important. So yeah, so it all started basically when it was about 2008, 2009-ish, maybe around 2010. It was in that area of time. I can't remember specifically what year it was, but it was when me and my dad, I do remember where it was. So me and my dad went, we would take trips to Canada every now and then, and we went to this specific trip, we went to Fort Malden. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it is a fort. I can't remember the specifics anymore because it was so long ago, but I know it was a fort during the War of 1812. It was a British fort, I believe. And this is where it really hit me that this was something interesting. So we walked around the area, all the little places that they have, the houses, the cabins and stuff, the cannons we saw, and it all just hit me, and I thought to myself, wow, this is something really interesting to me. Like in my brain, it just connected that, wow, this is definitely something I want to learn more about. And so that's where it started. And I already did a video a while back, a few months ago, I think, about the Wild West and how that's affected me. So this is kind of similar in a sense, but now, the other thing that also really made me interested in history was when the game Red Dead Redemption came out, and I mentioned this in the other video, how it got me really interested in westerns and the 19th century stuff. And so I would spend a lot of time looking online, and it was really interesting to me about learning all these things. What happened hundreds of years ago was actually interesting to me, even though it wasn't when I was a kid. So that really helped. And another thing was, right around the time when I was playing Red Dead Redemption, I took a Civil War class in school, and of course, as you can imagine, that just made things more interesting because I didn't really know a whole lot about the Civil War before then. Like if you were to ask me a lot of the facts that I know now, I would have had no idea. But I didn't know a whole lot about it at the time, but I thought, well, this seemed interesting because the Civil War is set in the same, like, kind of, not in the same year, but the same era, like the whole Wild West era, the 19th century is Red Dead is set in. So I said, hey, this will be interesting to learn more about the same kind of stuff that I play in my video game. So I took the class, I fell in love with it, everything seemed so interesting. And we were watching movies and learning all these different events, stuff that I had no idea about, and it was just really exciting. Really, I don't really know what the correct word is, but it was just so interesting, and it really made me just want to learn more and more. And I remember, usually I hated homework. Usually I hated doing any kind of learning, all that kind of stuff after school because, my mind was drained. But when I came home, I was either playing Red Dead Redemption or I was looking online and learning about the Civil War and watching movies and stuff. And it was just so exciting. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video. I don't think I did. But another thing that happened that was kind of cool was when my dad was driving the bus, because he used to be a bus driver, and I would sometimes get to ride with him. And on one night, he had bought us a movie to watch because he had like an hour or 2 hours. I can't remember how long, but he had a little bit of time of a break where he didn't have to drive, where he could just rest. And he bought us a Civil War movie called The Blue and the Gray. It's like a little mini series, and he bought it for us to watch together. And that just made me even more interested. I think it's one of my favorite Civil War movies even today. So yeah, that was a really interesting thing. So all this time, back in like 2010, 2011, like I was learning about this stuff. I was watching videos, movies, playing the game, all this stuff. I even got some other video games that are set in the same era, and it just all of this just culminated into one big like interest and obsession to be the whole 19th century. And then it expanded even more when I read, I think, what was it? Yeah, I was in class one day, and I was at my teacher. I was reading through, or I was looking at my teacher's books, and he had a book set during the American Revolution, and he let me borrow it and take it home and read it and all that. And so I think he ended up letting me keep it too. I can't remember, but anyway. And so I ended up reading that, and I thought, wow, the American Revolution is really interesting as well, and especially since I'm an American, it interested me even more. And it's like, so basically now I'm really interested in like the like late 1700s American Revolution, like early American era, all the way to like the end of the 19th century. Like that's where I really am interested in the most. And so after I did a lot of American Revolution research, I started learning a lot more about the War of 1812, which some people you may or may not know, but this is considered like the forgotten war because not many people know about it. It's like, I mean, people know about it, but they don't really talk about it much because some bad things happened, including the unfortunate burning of the White House. So, yeah, a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but I thought it was interesting, and I found out a lot of really interesting things, including the fact that at one point, I believe it was New England wanted to secede from the country because they didn't want to be a part of the war anymore. So they were considering seceding, and they were on the brink of a civil war even before the real Civil War began. So that was really interesting to learn, and all the other different battles and stuff, and just how that war panned out. So yeah, and then then I did. I passed the Civil War class with flying colors, I guess. Is that the way to say it? I don't know. But, I passed the Civil War class really good. In fact, I wanted to take it again just so I could, like, hear about other things that I missed, but they wouldn't let me take it again. I was like, why not? You want me to take classes that I'm interested in, right? But they didn't want me to take it again because they said, oh, you already passed, so that was kind of a shame. But, yeah, but I just kept on learning more stuff online. I'd watch movies and read stuff online. I'd read books, so that was really interesting to me as well. So I've also been to multiple Civil War battlefields. We went to Gettysburg, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville. We also went to a Revolutionary War battlefield. I can't remember the name of it anymore. It was in Virginia. I think it was on the coast. I can't remember the name of it though. But and then we went to there were, when I lived in Tennessee, there were a few battlefields near me as well. The Battle of Franklin. We went to the Battle of Shiloh and stuff. So we saw some Civil War reenactments as well. And I actually got a Civil War uniform as well, or reproduction made for me, an artillery uniform, because artillery is my favorite part of the military. So yeah, that's another thing. Red Dead Redemption got me interested in cannons because you could use cannons in the game. And I said, heck, I love shooting cannons in the game. So I learned more about the artillery part of the Civil War. And so I ended up having a Civil War artillery uniform made for me, like, so I could wear. I've never done a reenactment myself where I actually played in the reenactment, but I always thought it would be kind of cool, although it would be pretty loud. So yeah, basically that's where I am now. And even today, like, I still do a lot of research. I play like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is my favorite video game, which is another Wild West game. And always watching documentaries and learning more stuff as much as I can about these parts of the history, like basically anything from like the late 18th century to the 19th century of American history is most interesting to me. So yeah, that's pretty much a lot of it. I know I kind of ramble a lot, but you know how people on the spectrum get when they talk about their interests. So I'm sure I'm probably leaving some stuff out as well, because I don't want to spend the whole day talking. But yeah, so that's basically it. I'm still a huge history buff. I still like to learn about it and all. And it's definitely history is really interesting thing to learn about. And I hope more people can get interested in it as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, if you want to know anything about the Civil War, if you just have any questions about me or autism or anything, just feel free to leave a comment. Thanks and have a great day.